Friends, Indians, country people, lend me your ears. I come to bury the idea of an independent judiciary, not to praise how great our courts and judges were in the past. The evil that the Supreme Court did during the emergency lives on long after those judges retired, reminding us how easily Indira Gandhi bent India's mighty apex court to her will. The good ideas like protection of fundamental rights, rule of law, and separation of powers that the Constitution gave us and were protected by the courts have been undermined by governments of every party and by new judges who have ignored propriety and the law. So let it be with the idea of judicial independence. The Honourable former Chief Justice of India Ranjan Gogoi was nominated to be a member of the Rajya Sabha by the President on 16th March. The Honourable Judge's defenders have told you that this is not new, that former Chief Justice Ranganath Misra also became a Rajya Sabha MP in 1998 thanks to the Congress, that former Supreme Court Judge Baharul Islam resigned from the court to become a Rajya Sabha MP in 1983, which in fact just came immediately after giving a favourable judgment to a Congress Chief Minister. Now these are true and they were grievous faults, and grievously has the independence of India's judiciary been damaged by these incidents. After all, as former BJP Union Minister and legal luminary Arun Jaitley said in 2012, and I quote, "There are two kinds of judges, those who know the law and those who know the law minister. Pre-retirement judgments are influenced by post-retirement jobs." Here, with all due respect to ex-CJI Ranjan Gogoi and the rest of the judges of the Supreme Court, for Ranjan Gogoi is an honourable man and so are all the judges, all honourable men pretty much, very few women. Here come I to speak at the funeral of the idea of an independent judiciary. An independent judiciary would not have let the Alok Verma case drag on for months till the former CBI director had to retire and therefore render the court's verdict against the government eventually meaningless. But CJI Gogoi did. And Ranjan Gogoi is an honourable man. An independent judiciary would have urgently heard the cases on restrictions in Kashmir and the habeas corpus petitions of prisoners detained after the abrogation of Article 370. Would have interrogated the actions of the government, assessed whether the law was being followed, ensured fundamental rights were not being violated. When a judiciary is independent, it is concerned about the civil liberties of individuals. It doesn't ask detained political prisoners why they want to move around in the cold in Srinagar. An independent judiciary should be made of sterner stuff than a willingness to accept any and every bit of unverified, unsigned and even misleading information from the government in a sealed cover like in the Rafale case. But Chief Justice Gogoi found nothing wrong with sealed covers. Chief Justice Gogoi said he had to hear the Ayodhya case and so had no time to deal with Kashmir, and that habeas corpus petitions could be addressed by allowing friends of prisoners to visit them. And Ranjan Gogoi is an honourable man. You all did see that when the former Chief Justice was accused of sexual harassment by a court staffer, who also claimed victimization of herself and her family afterwards, by the way, he convened a special hearing of the Supreme Court to claim that the allegations were a conspiracy to undermine the judiciary, where the government's law officers, by the way, openly supported him in court despite having no evidence. He made accusations about the character of the woman who accused him and cited a criminal case against her that has since, by the way, been dropped and appears to have been filed as a sham. His name was mysteriously removed from the record of proceedings, and then he set up a new special bench to examine if the sexual harassment allegations against him were a threat to an independent judiciary, even before a Supreme Court in-house committee was being set up to probe the allegations. Would an independent judiciary have allowed the judge accused of sexual harassment to use the court as a forum to defend himself and smear the accuser? Was it too much to expect the highest court in the country and its highest office bearer to be more fair? Yet, Justice Gogoi insisted this was a witch hunt, and sure, Ranjan Gogoi is an honourable man. I speak not to disprove what CJI Gogoi spoke, but here I am to speak of what we do know. We do know that CJI Gogoi's accuser has been reinstated, as have her family members who had also been sacked mysteriously at the time. And we do know that there has been no hearing by that special bench into the claims of conspiracy ever since April 2019, with the Inquiry Commission submitting its report in September 2019, never to be heard from again. You all did love the idea of an independent judiciary once, not without cause, when it created environmental protections and battled for civil liberties in the 1980s, when it delivered the basic structure judgment to protect the Constitution from dilution. All these were causes for you to champion it. But what cause stops you now from recognizing that whatever was left of even the idea of an independent judiciary has now been lost? When a former Chief Justice of India is nominated to be a part of the Rajya Sabha just 4 months after he retired, just 4 months after allowing the building of a Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, which the current dispensation, by the way, has wanted for decades, despite saying the mosque there was illegally demolished. Just months after he repeatedly failed to list the electoral bonds case after his weak interim order, despite the urgency of the case and his own claims that he would take up the matter in the summer of 2019. Just months after he had failed to stand up to the government over its rejection of his own recommendation to appoint Justice Akhil Qureshi of the Madhya Pradesh High Court as its Chief Justice. Oh, judgment. Actually, all those judgments not passed, like the Sabrimala review petition, which was referred to a larger bench even though CJI Gogoi found nothing wrong on law or fact with the original verdict. Bear with me. My hopes for the judiciary to keep the government in check are in the coffin there with the independence of the judiciary. And we must all pause till something is done to stop these kind of post-retirement rewards and sinecures for judges, whether in the form of a ban or a cooling off period, or else, as another BJP Union Minister, Nitin Gadkari, said to us back in 2012, government can directly or indirectly influence the courts, and the dream to have an independent and impartial judiciary would never actualize.